Welcome to Learn with Sam. Today we are going to deal with the topic inheritance and variation. It is an important topic of genetics and it is also important for those who are appearing for 12th board exam. It is one of the important chapter in biology. So without any further ado, let's start with the topic. Chromosomes and mechanism of inheritance. The transmission of genetic information from generation to generation is known as heredity or inheritance. Physical characteristics are transmitted from parents through offspring by heredity or inheritance. So, transfer of genetic information from one generation to another or from parents to offspring is called as heredity or inheritance. Gregor Mendel is the father of genetics because by using hybridization technique, hybridization is nothing but crossing over two different species of a same organism. With the help of crossing over, he gave certain important conclusions which led to the development of genetics. Okay, so he worked on the plant Pisum sativum. What he did is he crossed the Pisum sativum is nothing but pea plant. So he crossed different species of pea plant, and based on the observation he gave is laws of heredity, that is Mendelian law of heredity. Okay, Gregor Mendel's contribution. He coined the term factors that are responsible for expression of a particular trait or character. The Mendelian factors are now termed as genes. These factors occur in pairs in parents and segregate from each other during gamete formation without blending or mixing. Nowadays, the term used for factor is genes. Factor is no longer in use. Genes are responsible for inheritance of the character and expression of characters. It is a molecule or a segment of DNA present in an organism responsible for expression of character. In earlier times, it was called as factors. Okay, these factors occurs in pair in parents, segregate during gamete formation, and they do not blend or mix. Reason for Mendel's success. His experiments were carefully planned and involved large samples. So Mendel worked on large number of Pisum sativum by crossing it over and observing the different traits of the offsprings. He carefully recorded the number of plants of each type and expressed his result in the form of ratio. He analyzed each and every character statistically and he expressed the outcome in the form of ratio. In the pea plant, contrasting characters can be easily recognized. The different or the variant characteristics are easily observable in pea plant. The 7 different characters in pea plant were controlled by single factor each. This means, for example, for height of the plant there is a unique or a separate factor. For the color of the flower there is a specific factor. For the position of the leaf there is a separate factor. For each character there is a specific factor. The factors are located on separate chromosome and these factors are transmitted from generation to generation. And he introduced the concept of dominance and recessiveness. Dominance and recessiveness is, if we cross a plant, we'll get an offspring. In that offspring, out of the two, one gene will be expressing itself. It is called as dominant and the other gene will not express itself. It is called as recessive. Okay, now we'll see certain genetic terminologies. First is character. It is a specific feature of an organism. For example, height of a plant, height of the stem of a plant. It means if we have to describe a plant, we'll talk about talk about the height of the plant, the color of the leaves, the color of the flower, the position of the leaves, etc. So its description or the feature is the character. So second one is trait, an inherited character and its detectable variant. Trait is nothing but its description only, but there are two different forms of description. If we talk about height of the plant, it can be the plant can be tall or dwarf. So tallness and dwarfness are the trait. So third and fourth is factors and allele. As mentioned earlier, gene is a particular segment of DNA which is responsible for inheritance and expression of characters. Gene is a segment of DNA responsible for inheriting certain character and expressing that character in the person. In earlier days, genes were called as factor. Factors are unit of heredity, particle present in organism responsible for inheritance and expression of a character. Factor is unit of heredity present in organism responsible for inheritance and expression of character. Nowadays it is called as gene. In those days it was called as factors. Next is allele or allelomorph. The two or more alternative forms of a given gene are called alleles of each other. They occupy identical loci position on homologous chromosome. Okay, what are alleles? Now look at this picture. Alleles are nothing but there are two variant of a same gene. Either they can be located on same chromosome or on same chromosome, or they can be located on the sister chromosome. Two variants of a same gene, either located on the same chromosome or on the different chromosome. If they are located on the same, it is called as homozygous allele. If they are located on the adjacent sister chromosome, then they are called as heterozygous allele. Dominant and recessive. So as I said, gene we human beings inherit two genes or two alleles, one from our mother and one from our father. So every organism receives one gene from one parent and the other gene from other parent for a specific character. For example, if we talk about height, will receive a trait, that is tallness, from one parent and dwarfness from other parent. It can be purely tall or dwarf or intermediate tall dwarf also, but the expressing character can be either tall or dwarf. So the character that is expressed by the offspring, that is tallness, the gene that codes for tallness, it will be considered dominant, and the gene that doesn't express in F1 generation or in the offspring is called recessive.